Mary Poppins is underway at the Civic Center Music Hall. Lyric Theater production continues through Saturday. Tickets start at $25. Happy to be joined by the choreographer, Matthew Sipress, and Marilyn Govich. She teaches at UCO. She also plays the wicked Miss Andrew. Do you like being introduced as wicked anything? Does anybody like that?
You know what? Being a Disney villain is the greatest. And I have I get to be an important part of the show. Although my part is not that large, she is the part of the cause of this family falling apart. And I get to have this kind of diva duel with Mary Poppins. Later, it's kind of like Harry Potter and Voldemort, you know, the two forces of good and evil going against. And I have to say, it is great fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Miss Andrew is not in the movie, actually, but she
Mary Poppins
is very
was like a
integral.
series of books, right? It's like
Yes,
8 books
yes,
or something, and
yes.
the film was loosely based on, or the film was based off of the storyline.
Right, right. And so the writers have included more things from the books, from the Travers books, that are not in the movie.
Well, Matthew, let's throw it back over to you as a choreographer, and we mentioned that it was based on 8 books. You get to put your stamp on this story. How did you look at, everybody knows what the film looks like, but you want to do your version on stage?
Absolutely.
Walk us through that.
Well, that's the great thing about the film is everybody loves the film. I mean, I don't think anybody goes, ugh, Mary Poppins. So I want people to be able to come to the theater and feel nostalgic, and so I want my choreography to emulate something that they remember with joy. But I have some limitations, as in the film, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and Jolly Holiday with Mary are done in animation. So I don't have dancing penguins at my disposal, so I have to put my own stamp on it and make it as glorious as I can and help people feel nostalgic towards the film with my choreography.
Everybody remembers the rooftops of London, that iconic, you know, the chimney sweepers dancing around. What goes into the production of this? Because there's a lot of sets involved here, right?
There are a lot of sets. There are 26.
I think it's 26.
What would be an
locations.
average amount of locations and sets? And granted, that's going to change every play, but you guys are veterans
the
of
lighting
this.
designer said that there were more light cues in the first act of this than the entire production of Oklahoma that preceded
Right.
it.
Sure.
So a lot of different locations.
In Oklahoma, the first scene is 45 minutes long. It doesn't change location. You get all the exposition with all the different characters in Oklahoma. Our first scene is 10 minutes long, and then boom, we're on to another location. And I think part of that is this is an adaptation from a film. So they want to, again, want people to remember the film and the joy they get from the film by staying as close to it as possible by changing locations as quickly as they do in film, which becomes extremely difficult on stage.
It becomes extremely difficult because so many people need to be on point, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
we have, I think we have 25 people backstage pushing our set around, which is, we have like the main house set, you know, in the film where Mary slides up the staircase. She does not do that in our production, but that set itself is 3 rolling units, 4 rolling units because there's escape stairs in the back, and then a 5th unit that drops in and slides across it to frame it out. And all of that moving around takes almost all 25 people at once.
And I will say that Julie Meyer, the production stage manager, is a genius to put all this together because she calls all of the lighting cues and everything that moves on stage, every sound effect, everything. So
she's the queen of Tetris.
The queen of Tetris.
Because backstage,
another good title.
Just that one set we have, you know, while it's on stage, other sets have to move around to basically get in line to move onto stage as that moves off.
Talking Mary Poppins here. It's at the Civic Center Music Hall. Lyric Theater production. Matthew Sipress is the choreographer. The wicked Miss Andrew, played by Marilyn Govich next to me. Let's back up just a second. There's a lot of planning, a lot of Tetris involved in this. When do you start planning for productions like this? And when does it start on paper? And
It started about a year ago when we chose the season. And we know that there is flying involved in this show, so we have to contact a company. We're using Hall & Associates to handle all the flying of Mary Poppins. We have to, if we're not going to build the set, which we didn't do for this show, we built our Oklahoma set, and we're building Big Fish, and we're building Billy Elliot, but we're renting the set and costumes and props for Mary Poppins, because it's so big that with the other shows there just wasn't enough time. And so we found a package that is rented to us by Music Theater of Wichita, and it comes on several trucks, and we put it together, and basically their set was available to us. I think there were 2 or 3 other Mary Poppins rental packages available, but there are so many other theaters around the country who are doing it that they just weren't available to us, and we happened, with a year in advance, got this set from Music Theater of Wichita, which is terrific.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What'd you do on the 4th of July?
We were in tech rehearsal all day.
You guys were in tech rehearsal.
From 11 to 11.
Well, walk us through tech rehearsal. What goes on there?
Well, do you want to explain it more?
Oh, sure. Tech rehearsal is short for technical rehearsal. And basically for the 8 days prior, we'd been in a rehearsal studio, just the actors, putting this show together with tape marks on the floor saying this is where staircase is going to be, or this is where Mr. Banks's office is going to be. But then we get to the theater, and we have these monster sets we have to deal with. We have lighting designer who needs to put the light on us and on the set, which can change. Her plan could change once people are on it. We have got everybody working backstage to make sure that we can do our job on stage, and by us doing our job on stage properly, they can do their job properly backstage, and they are a crackerjack team back there, let me tell you.
That's where the magic is happening.
That's where the magic is, really.
Well, and there are costumes added to the mix.
And yes, of course, costumes and props.
There are wigs,
and
that are period.
The environment, the vibe just completely changes at this point, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and there's a long row backstage of chairs with each character's name on them. And there are people making crosses and fast changes. The ensemble are heroic. They're just heroic because they're being all of these characters. It's a huge stage and it's a huge production. And so these ensemble members play multiple characters, and so they're on and off, and they're back in a different wig and a different costume. And
some of them only have maybe 60 seconds to change full costume, shoes, and wig, and get back on stage.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And Mary Poppins as
Mary
well.
Poppins has to do that as well, and you have a wig person waiting, and everything is rigged so that that can happen in this minimal amount of time.
I remember during the Tony Awards watching a clip on
right.
Kelly O'Hara, the quick change backstage. It's amazing.
It's crazy,
well, that's
right?
happening, and sometimes it's right off the stage and they're back on. Mary Poppins does this in Jolly Holiday.
Yes, twice, because she has to get in and then back out again.
Well, Marilyn, I mentioned you are a professor up at UCO. You are a vocal instructor there, correct?
Yes, yes. I have the delight of having one of my former students, actually 2 of my former students, star in the show.
Very nice.
Lindsay Van Winkle was brought in from New York. The director, Joe Deere, who is from Ohio and a nationally known director, had suggested her for the role because he did a reading with her in New York. And he did not even know that she was from Oklahoma City, from the Oklahoma City area. She grew up in Edmond and went to UCO. And she is a delightful performer. She's an exquisite Mary Poppins, and she has a voice that is just seamless. And she's charming and beautiful as Mary Poppins. People will fall in love with Lindsay Van Winkle. And in addition to that, the Mrs. Banks, Melissa, the lovely Melissa Griffith, is a former student as well.
It's got to be.
Who is
Fill you up with pride.
Yes, I am, and I get to play the wicked evil and have this opera diva duel kind of thing with Mary Poppins in the show, and we it's like Harry Potter and Voldemort as standoff there, and it's so fun. And she's so beautiful and charming, easy to work with, and certainly in the curtain call last night, they came out and I was getting all teary. I'm supercalifragilistic, It was just a lovely moment to see people you know and love, and you've had a hand in helping them get where they are. It's just
well, that's your role
incredibly rewarding.
Sure.
Yes, to be a mentor and.
Well, you mentioned Joe Deere. He and I worked together 25 years ago I went to Oklahoma City University as a dancer, and my first summer with Lyric Theater of Oklahoma in 1991, he was my first director for Singing in the Rain, and we haven't worked with each other since.
Wow.
And this was such a wonderful experience.
The paths have crossed again.
Absolutely, as grown-ups, you know, we're totally different people now, and we got to collaborate in a different way.
And he cast Jeremy Benton as Bert, and you will not find a more charming.
Well, Bert has to be charming, right?
Oh my gosh, he is charming, and he dances like a dream. I mean, it's just wonderful.
Well, Lyric audiences have seen him before in Call Me Madam a couple years ago, and he choreographed Little Night Music for us last year.
Right.
We are taping this on Wednesday, which means the production kicked off. Opening night was Tuesday night. How'd it go?
It was glorious.
Yeah.
I got to sit and watch it, which was nice, because once the show's up, I'm done. It's great. The show is up. It's their show now.
Like off you go. It's into your hands.
Exactly. I got to sit back and watch and relax, and it was terrific. And what was so great is that there are so many families there, and it's such a great family show.
Sure.
Absolutely.
That I did not sense any fidgeting from any children. I didn't see anybody have to get up and remove any
score
kids.
For you. That means you guys have done your part. People are engaged.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But what's good to know is if you do bring your kids, and they are on the younger side, we do have the show playing on video monitors in the lobby. So if you do need to take your kid out,
they're not going to miss any of the
action. If they get
action.
so excited,
Right.
you know, that they get a little rammy, it's good you can take them out in the lobby and you won't miss a thing.
Very cool. How was it from being on stage last night?
Well, it was just thrilling. There's always an excitement. We were talking about this was such a huge technical show that after being at the theater till 11 on Monday, we had to report at 9 o'clock yesterday to finish the technical rehearsal.
Oh, wow.
And this is partly for safety reasons. We have people flying, we have sets moving, and people, you know, if people get knocked down. And I mean, it's all for safety, and it had to be done. And you know what? The cast was so willing to do it. There was not one grumble. People were exhausted from being in, you know, doing a 12-hour day. But they came back at 9 o'clock, and then we did a full dress rehearsal in the afternoon, and then a performance.
It's a long day.
Yes, but you know what? There was a lot of adrenaline, and there's a lot of joy in what we do. And it's so thrilling to have the audience just receive it so well. And it's a beautiful story.
Sure.
And to get back for it, we love Mary Poppins, but the story is about a family.
About the Banks family.
Yes, and how this family got out of kilter because the father was brought up by this cruel nanny who took all of the creativity and the joy out of his life, and he thought that's what was supposed to happen, and he reflected that to his wife and children. And Mary Poppins comes in to teach the family the lessons to help them get back on track, to be loving and kind to each other.
Life
It's
can be more than
beautiful
just
story. It's a beautiful story to be able to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Marilyn Govich, Matthew Sipress. You can catch them either on stage or behind stage at Mary Poppins. It runs through Saturday at the Civic Center Music Hall, production of Lyric Theater. Guys, it was great to meet you. I enjoyed the conversation today.
Thank you
so much.
Nice to be here.
All right, and tickets, by the way, start at $25. You can find them lyrictheaterokc.com.
This is everyone's favorite nanny, Mary Poppins, inviting you to step in time and see me live at the Civic Center Music Hall in the musical spectacular Mary Poppins.
Come see Mary Poppins, July 7th through the 11th at the Civic Center Music Hall. Call 405-524-9312 or visit lyrictheaterokc.com for tickets today.